Hello, guys. So we are going to tackle another question that backs a lot of newbies, right? What programming language should I learn first? This question, man, it's put so many programmers of like, the software development industry is so huge, it's so big. So like when you want to enter into it, especially when you've never been in it before and you want to now start, it's so overwhelming. Like, where should I start from? Right? But that is why we are here to guide you, to direct you on how you can go about things. Okay, I'm going to give you my best recommendation of what to start with, no matter the kind of field you want to enter in software development. Okay, so stay tuned in this video and then let's just get to it. Right. So first of all, asking what you should start with is like learning how to cook, and you're asking what food should I learn to cook first. Like that is a very dicey question. Okay, like I mean, if you're learning how to cook, you can start with rice, cake, soup, jollof, fufu, macaroni. What do you start with? It's like there's really no right or wrong answer. Okay, different people start with different angles of programming. They just pick a language and then just start from there, right? And truth of the matter is that whatever language you decide to start with, you still figure out how to get to your expected end, your expected goal. Okay, that's the beauty of software development. You can't really go wrong. Okay, you just need to find what is available for you at that point in time, and then I just stick with it to the end. And as you learn it, it will take you, it will branch you out to other places, and you begin to understand things in that order. Right now, the key thing that matters is understanding the fundamentals of software development, of programming. Okay, and these concepts and fundamentals, they run across all the various programming languages. Like there are some common patterns that Okay, for example, loops and conditions and variables and data types, and these things are things that, like, no matter the language that you pick, you find there. Okay, so understanding them is what matters, right? Once you understand them, it's easy to translate that concept from one language to another. But the problem arises when you don't understand. You don't even know what a function is. You don't understand the thinking behind a function, or classes, or variables, or data types, or stuff like that. Then you get into other languages and then you get confused, right? But then once you get the fundamentals right, it really becomes a matter of syntax. Just the different syntax. Like saying hello, you understand what hello means. You know what it's for, right? You can say hello in English, say hello in French, say hello in Spanish, and hey, it's just a matter of language changes, syntax changes, right? But then the core concept is that you are saying hello. Okay, and so what I decided to ask myself is, what language can properly teach a beginner the core fundamentals? All right, so it's really not about the language you want to learn. It's about what can teach me the core fundamentals that I know properly, right? And this question is actually open to a lot of argument, like in the community. Meaning everybody has their own recommendation of what to start with. Some people say Python, some people say JavaScript, some people will say sorry, a whole lot of things, right? So where do you go? Right. So my honest recommendation is for you to start with C programming. Now I know I can get a lot of heat for this recommendation, right? But like a whole lot of people will advise you against starting with C as a beginner, because C is hard, right? It's compared to languages like JavaScript and Python. C is harder, right? Because, and as a beginner, it's unforgiving, right? It doesn't forgive your errors like that. It doesn't make it easier to just ignore certain things, right? C is hard. Truth is, C is hard, and sometimes people advise against it because it can intimidate a beginner, or it's not as fun. Okay, you don't get immediate results as you get in JavaScript and Python. You do some simple HTML and CSS, you put some JavaScript in there, and you're already seeing some immediate results and all that stuff, right? But C is not that kind of a fun language. Okay, so people will say, nah, as a beginner, no, don't go with C, right? And the other thing too is that there are some concepts in C that as a beginner it may just be so hard to understand, like memory management and pointers and stuff like that. In fact, truth of the matter is that even me with a whole lot of experience, it took like some years after I learned C to actually begin to understand some of these concepts, right? But I learned them anyways, but I never really really understood it as much, okay? But it was there in my subconscious at the back of my mind, right? So the other thing is that some of the concepts that C teaches, right? Most of beginner programmers may never have to deal with it, like memory management. You see, like most of these new languages do all that for you, right? And if you are not going into like hardware programming or embedded systems and stuff like that, you may never have to deal with some bare metal hardware stuff, in your entire career, right? But example, for me, I learned C programming like years ago, right? But then I never actually used C in my career, okay? But I learned it. So why am I still recommending C programming as the start? Now, it's simple: hard training, easy battle for life. Totally easy battle for life. Now, I started, I started with HTML and CSS. They are not technical; those are not programming languages, right? But my first real language I learned was C, right? And like I said, I understood some concepts only a few years ago, but learning C gave me so much muscle. Like the training was so tough, had to deal with things like file handling and all that stuff right from the beginning, right? And wrapping my head around this concept, it sort of like stretched my mind. They stretched my analytical thinking right from beginning. Okay, so because of that, when I then moved to taking on languages like PHP, JS, and Python and stuff like that, these languages became like a piece of cake. Like they were not tough. Like I could pick up like multiple languages in just a few moments. Okay, because so many concepts, so many languages are the whole mentality and stuff like that are built on the concept of C, right? So that gave me like that hard muscle, like, yeah, I went through this tough training and stuff like that. Okay, so with all the things that I learned in C. Okay, so for you, it gets easier, right? If you're able to tackle C programming as a beginner, as a newbie, and battle through it to the end, I promise you that you'd come out smiling. And once you begin to take on these newer languages that are actually used more and more right now, it becomes a piece of cake for you. And you sort of get an edge over your some of your peers who didn't start that way. Okay, you understand things from a more basic fundamental, like we said, which is like really important, right? I use C just in my course work, okay, as an engineering student. But have I touched it? No, I've never touched C. I don't remember the last time I coded in C. But the question I asked myself, did I waste my time learning C then, right? I mean, because it was part of my coursework, so I didn't have any option than to learn it, right, as the first language. But then, was it an absolute waste of time? No, it wasn't. It was totally worth it. Every bit of it was worth it. Okay, C is definitely where you can't go wrong with it. So yeah, you can't go wrong no matter which angle you start. But like I said, my honest recommendation for you, my friend, as a new developer now about to start your career, if you haven't started learning C, okay, pause whatever you are doing. Pause whatever you are doing and start with C programming. Go out there, go get some books and go get some videos and stuff. Like just start with it, start understanding what's going on behind it, and trust me, come back to whatever you are learning now and it will be a piece of cake. All right, so yeah, I know a lot of people will flame me for this, but then hey, this is my recommendation. It may not necessarily work for everyone, okay, but it worked for me, and I believe if you go this way, it will work for you. And anyone that comes to me to ask us, what should I start with, I always say start with C programming. All right, so if you like this video, Remember to subscribe, hit the like button. Just show us some love, show us some support, okay? Because we have more of these videos coming up. And if you have anything to say about it, leave your comments. If you have any ideas or anything that are bugging you, okay, you can just leave in your comments and then we'll get back to you. Thank you very much and hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye.